Remember 2008 when the Lehman Brothers crisis occurred?
Lehman Brothers is going bankrupt, and financial markets from Asia to Europe are doing their utmost to prevent Monday from turning from dark to black. Employees of America's fourth largest investment bank saw the writing on the wall late Sunday after talks to pull them back from the abyss collapsed. British firm Barclays Bank said no thanks, while Bank of America decided instead to help another struggling bank, Merrill Lynch, in a merger deal worth over $50 billion. The U.S. government said it won't bail out Lehman, which last week announced more than $3.9 billion in losses.
In the past 2 weeks, two major crises, Silicon Valley Bank and the Credit Suisse collapse, created a major tension in the banking industry in several countries around the world.
We managed to overcome the loss of confidence in the markets, but not a second time this time. The downward spiral of the loss of confidence and the situation over the last few days made clear that the Credit Suisse cannot exist the way it is going forward.
Banking sector in the US and Europe are going through the very difficult time from past couple of weeks after the collapse of SVB. One of the largest and oldest bank in Switzerland created a more panic after back-to-back collapse of three major banks. Global interest rates have fallen, credit spreads are surged, and the fear the global economy is tipping into the recession. How the Indian banks coped up with their Western counterpart with minimal or no impact. The Indian economic and the banking sector have managed to remain resilient during a time filled with difficulty at the global level. The history of Indian economic safeguarding itself and minimizing the impact on the heat of economic crisis could be traced back to the Lehman crisis in 2008. Although the country was not completely devoted by the spillover effect, but the Indian economic suffered relatively less from the global financial crisis that followed the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Even though the Lehman crisis had little impact on the Indian financial system, but it faced a moderate recession post-global financial crisis due to recession in US, Europe. On the contrary, the current impact due to the SVM crisis or Credit Suisse is more through the currency and yields, which is driven by the risk appetite of the investor. In times like this, investors usually offer safe haven, which will adversely impact the emerging market currency and yields. The only sector in India which is most vulnerable after the SVM collapse is startup ecosystem, as large chunk of funding used to come from the US.
But in this global gloom and doom, there is one bright spot that has in fact stood out for everyone's surprise, and it is the Indian banking system that seems to have weathered this crisis way better than the banking systems of the West.
Feel free to provide your suggestion in the comment section whether the Indian banks are more secure than West and Europe combined.